Yeah, what is good, everybody? I hope you all enjoyed the weekend. I was up snowboarding in the mountains at North Star. Saw a couple big people. If any of you know snowboarding Jesus, that's one of the people I saw. And yeah, I had a good weekend. I hope that was the same for you guys. But time to get back to work. Market opens up tomorrow, and we got some things to talk about. So I think it's gonna be an interesting week for the markets. So we're just gonna get into it. Make sure to show the video some love, give it a like and subscribe. Let's get into it. So start off, we got oil here. So oil, kind of interesting. It kind of broke out of this really wide channel. Now, this channel wasn't intact. It was intact for a while. I mean, October to pretty much January, but what I mean by not being intact for that long is like how many bounces it got. Like, it sort of helps to have more than just like two touches on both sides so that you can really see that it's like a valid channel, but you broke out of it from what it seems so far. Now, there's a couple things I could see here. Looking at the indicators, I can't really see any like bias yet, so what I'm waiting for is the structure. And one of the things I could see as a possibility is one more high. And if that's the case, we would have five waves up, one, two, three, four, five, and I would be shorting. I'd be pretty confident in shorting as well. For quite a decent move to the downside, I would do this in shows. Um, SCO, I would ride that down to 78 to 76 from um, probably around 83 to 84. So, yeah, definitely some incentive right around here. Where I believe we actually looked at this before. Yeah. So I was going to say this is in a liquid region, but you can see it was shifting around there a lot. So um, maybe not. But regardless, there's a lot of resistance in this region. Just those low 80s, as you can see. We've really been trying to get through that and have not been able to. So maybe we come down, we test this line, maybe we get one more high, then we correct. So I feel like it's kind of in this like it's kind of just sifting around in this region. So I'm gonna be waiting a little on oil, see what it wants to give us tomorrow. Natural gas here, interesting spot. You know, this thing has been struggling to get any kind of move upwards. It's kind of sad to watch here. I mean, it's done nothing but go down, but finally around once we got to my target, which was 343, I believe, 342, you can see it started to do something different besides just this cascading down like 10% every single day. Now it's kind of like doing this wedge, going a little more sideways. Um, we could be looking at a breakout, that wave 4. If you don't know, in a corrective wave, in the C wave, you have 5 waves down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 can take you all the way back to the bottom of wave 1, but it also has to respect something else I'll show you right now. So wave 4 can only go to the 50%. The 50% is, give me a second, I got a lot of stuff up. So, yeah, this one. If you can see that on the far left side, 50% is right around here. So, yeah, we can't really go much higher than the low fives. And then from there, we would get that final move down towards 2.3. So, it's been struggling to give us this wave 4 bounce, but we might get to see it soon. We'll have to see. We just really need to get a solid break out of this. And we gapped up in futures this afternoon. So, maybe we fill this. Natural gas really likes to fill its gaps, if you didn't know that. So use that to your advantage. It could fill this gap before it wants to do anything else. For now, we're just going to see if it can hold this region, if it pulls back and fills that gap and holds those lines. DXY really hasn't been able to give us much to work with in terms of its correlation with the market. So not too much to say here. Really just kind of watching this region here. It really has to hold this region. Because if it doesn't, there's a good amount of downside. Yeah, this is really just that last support area where buyers are coming in. Underneath that, there's really not very solid support. Maybe all the way down into that 99, 98 region. So it's really got to hold here, or you could see some decent downside. Apple, we've been talking about this for weeks. I said this thing's going to reverse pretty hard. We were bullish in here just because it had this wedging formation. We were starting to get those divergences while the price was going down and we knew it was going to go up. And what do you know? That's what we got. And we were looking for that 135 level, which we have actually gotten past, which I did not actually think would happen this easily. So we filled that gap. We got back above this trend line. So Apple was showing some serious strength here. A little over what I was expecting, but um, not that far out of my expectations. The big thing now is this trend line here. This thing we have not been able to break since really October. So if this thing breaks, we could be moving up to 160s. Fill that big gap up here. So we've been saying that for weeks now, and it's finally at that point where if it breaks out, it's sort of a straight shot to the upside because there's a lot of consolidation that's been happening. It's just been getting tighter and tighter into this point, and then it breaks out. So keep an eye on this trend line here. You have a gap right here at 142, and above that, the next gap is at 160. Tesla, we've been bullish on this for a few weeks. Ever since we got down to that 101 region, that was the big region we were watching. Underneath that, it was quite a ways down, like 67. So we held 101, and we said we're probably going to get a bounce up to that supply zone, or that previous demand zone, which is now a supply zone. So that's what we were targeting before. We also had that gap here, which I guess isn't that relevant now, but regardless, we were talking about that supply zone, and I said we're going to get rejected there at the first attempt. So I believe that was the first attempt. That was a pretty harsh rejection. Yeah, that was a harsh rejection. So that was a result from sellers coming in here. I said sellers will come in here. So we got a decent rejection, and now we're gonna reattempt it. So if we can break the supply zone, yeah, there's some room. There's some room to the up. There is some room to the upside. And besides that, we were talking about this trend line here. This is the last trend line resistance really. So big spot here. Tesla could get a nice squeeze to the upside because a lot of people chase this move to the downside. I think there are some shorts that Tesla could squeeze out. Yeah, you got a good amount of room to go up. So keep an eye on that supply zone. If you get over this region, I think the big level is 150, 154. If you can get over that, straight shot to 180. And yeah, it's got some upside. So keep an eye on Tesla for that. Amazon, we've been bullish on this for a while, ever since we started getting around this region, because we were starting to get these divergences here. And we were in this channel, and I said, nothing can go down forever, nothing can go up forever. That's just not how it works. And it was channeling, and we all knew it was going to bounce. That's just how it works. And that's what we got. We got a nice bounce. That gap I'm watching is 110 to 105. Might need a breath, might not. I think the big thing to be looking for is if we get above 100. So keep an eye on that 100 level. It's a big psychological level as well. It's kind of near that previous high. Biotech. So a very interesting spot. It got that correction we were looking for, but it bounced right back up. So we're gonna continue to keep an eye on this region here, that purple box. See how it really interacts with this because it's gonna be tough to get over this region here. It's had quite a nice breakout, so I would like some more price action to work with biotech. You had this upper trend line resistance, so big resistance around here. You're gonna have trouble with the top of this channel on LabU. So if it breaks out of those low mid 8 region, you got a gap up here. That's a pretty big gap all the way to 10. So if you've been long since we got long in the Discord, you're up a good amount. We definitely would have sold at my target 770 and 810, and for now we're just kind of waiting. I'd expect it to come back down, but it's not going to stay in this channel forever. So once it breaks out, you're not going to want to be on the wrong side of it. Semiconductors, very interesting here. We got a very nice move down that we were expecting. We shorted up here. I believe we shorted on this day. I forget which day we shorted on. I believe, I don't remember being right on my position, so I think it was this day. So, again, it got that really nice bounce right back up. Very interesting spot here. you're back again at that resistance. You just filled this gap, so maybe you get this corrective structure to the downside that would look like this. Um, so this was your A wave, this was your B wave, and then your C wave down to make the C wave proportional to that A wave in length, so that also fills your gap. So you got some incentive to move down here, and that would inevitably send SOXS to the upside. So we had that gap up. Again, might have just wanted to fill it before getting that bounce, but it's at kind of a dangerous spot. You need to see this thing bounce very soon because you're under that big trend line. You can kind of see you got rejected from it, and it's not exactly just this one trend line. It's more of like a range. Like I would say something like this, maybe up to this low here, but it's more of a region than just this line, and you can see we got rejected from there. So it's pretty important that this thing gets this move to the upside and kind of reclaims this area. You got some gaps to the upside. I believe there was one higher. Yeah, you got a gap up here. So a smaller one, and then you got these massive ones up here, which I think are going to fill in a few months. So we're going to come back to that. From here, that's over 200%, I believe. Let me just check this. 100%, I mean. So keep an eye on SOXS. Yeah, it has a very big move coming up in the next few months. You're not going to want to sleep on this one. So for now, we're going to see if it can bounce. If not, it's looking a little scary. You'll see what I'm talking about once I get on to SPY. The VIX, again, very important. We were talking about that. It doesn't exactly matter what happened before the apex here. We could get a tweezer bottom. What do you know? We got that tweezer bottom. Right when we got right when we got into the apex, boom, we shot up like I said would probably happen. We just wanted to fill that gap, and then it shot right back up. This was beyond expected. Go back to all my videos. That's what we're talking about, really. So yeah, interesting spot here. It's rejecting at this previous trend line. So now this could be a bull trap. So I was expecting a jump up to just kind of trap people and shake out people, but now that we're past the apex, we got rejected. And I also would have liked it to go like through the apex to the upside rather than trying to get through it after the apex. So it's a little interesting now. VIX, I'm just kind of watching it now. You still have this gap down here, so I'm keeping a close eye on that gap. We'll see what the market wants to do early on this week. So on to SPY, there's a couple scenarios here. So we had some nice trades on Friday or Thursday, I believe, with SPY, and we're trying to figure out what it wants to do here. So we shorted on this day. We shorted the little highs like over 399, I believe, and we sold on this day. So we caught that entire drop. It was a pretty nice drop too, and we were looking at the support region. It was 387ish to 383, 384, whatever I said in my previous videos, and that's what held for now. So I do think this is gonna hold for maybe a few more weeks. It doesn't have to. It's at a very crucial point where it can get rejected and go for a new low, which I believe is pretty unlikely, but you kind of got to keep it in the picture. So the structure I'm really watching here is if this is corrective. So there's three main things I'm looking for here. This is the first one. You get wave 1, 2, 3. 3 likes to extend. 3 is usually the longest wave, so you get a little more upside, something like this. This is more just like a rough sketch. You get your 4 and then your 5 up, and you would have 5 waves up. I would feel very comfortable shorting this. I'm actually just going to show you this example that 5-wave structure, really easy short. If you spot this 5-wave structure, it's this is what you're going to expect. You're going to expect that reversal. So I was looking for that purple zone, and we moved right into it, and we closed it out at that second target, closed out all shorts, and from there we got a disgusting bounce that was like 388.75ish. Yeah, we didn't go very much lower than that. So from here, it's just, I think it's smart to kind of keep an eye on it and wait for the structure to tell you what it wants to do, because this thing might be going to 400. This is another thing I guess I want to show you. So everything has been intact. Nothing has changed. We've gone to 390, then 410, then 370, and we got close to 370. We hit 374, but we also overshot 410 by around $4. So you can kind of give it that $4 buffer to 370 to like 374ish, and from here it's 400 plus. So we've tried to break 400. We attempted that big trend line, that major psychological resistance at 400, that volume gap that goes from 400 to 410. So there was major resistance there. We weren't going to break it. That's why I was extremely comfortable taking that short here. A pretty big position too, so I made a lot of money on that. But I was not greedy with it. I did not think we were just going to keep falling, cascading down. It's not time. You don't want to. You need to be careful about shorting and expecting new lows here. It can happen, but it's not. I don't think it's the easiest scenario. There's so many people shorting this. They're oblivious. They think the market only goes down, but the more that people short, the harder it is for the markets to go down. That's just fuel waiting to be added to a short squeeze. So you got to be careful when you're trying to short, especially at such a major trend line. We're at that major trend line. If it breaks it, bears are going to get destroyed. Now, it's also kind of what I've been expecting too, because once you break out of this, whenever it happens, we're going to break it. I don't know when it's going to break, but once you break it, we're going to go parabolic. It's going to go basically vertical. It's going to go vertical once we break this line. So, this is kind of an example of what happens when you break a line like this. There's no stopping it really until all of the shorts have covered. And there's a lot of shorts sitting in the market right now thinking we're just going to get rejected at this again and just fall. So don't think that is guaranteed. I honestly am not really leaning to that scenario. I think we're probably going to get above this trend line. And if you get above this trend line, you could see all the way up to 440. And there's a very tiny gap at 336 that I talked about in my previous videos. I don't want to zoom in. It's going to take a little bit to zoom into the low time frames and then go all the way back and find it. But there's a very small gap at 436. So keep that in mind. We're just going to have to see what the market wants to do early on this week. Futures, kind of being weird around here, floating. We'll just have to see on Monday. But interesting spot here. I think I'm leaning towards going 400 plus. We'll just have to see. I just want a little more structure to work with, and we should get that on Monday. So tomorrow's video, we should have a better picture of what the market wants to do, what kind of direction it's going to give us. So that's where I'm going to leave this video. If you watched the whole thing through, show it some love, give it a like and subscribe, and peace out, guys.